Awaken Light Audio. Awaken your mind, ignite your light.
Train your mind to stay calm in any situation. Build unshakable mental strength. Mental strength isn't built in silence, it's forged in storms. Anyone can stay calm when life is easy. But who are you when everything goes wrong? When plans fall apart, people disappoint you, and chaos knocks on your front door. That's where true strength reveals itself. And most people, they fall apart. Not because life is too hard, but because their mind was never trained to stay still. You need an unshakable mind. Calm isn't about removing the chaos, it's about staying centered while the chaos rages around you. Your power doesn't come from controlling the storm. Isn't something you wait for, but something you train daily, like a warrior of the inner world. What if peace isn't passive? What if it's a skill, sharpened through choice, discipline, and presence? From reaction to resilience, the journey within. You weren't born anxious, you weren't born reactive, defensive, impulsive, or overwhelmed. That was learned, shaped, conditioned, and just like it was built, it can be unbuilt. Somewhere along the way, you forgot your center. You started living on edge, constantly reacting, overthinking, controlling, breaking. But deep down, you've always known. There's a part of you that's calmer than the storm. Noise. That's the version of you we're going to reclaim, because calm isn't what happens when life gets easier. It's what happens when you get stronger. This is not a motivational speech. This is mental training. We're not here to escape the storms. We're here to become the stillness within them. So take a breath, drop your shoulders, silence the noise, and prepare to rebuild your mind into something the world can't shake. Let's begin with the first chapter. Because peace isn't about avoiding the fire. It's about learning to walk through it without burning. Chapter 1. The chaos is not the enemy. Your reaction is, it's not the storm that breaks you, it's how unprepared your inner world is to meet it. Life is chaotic. That's not the problem. Let's be honest, life doesn't always cooperate. People say things that hurt. Situations turn unfair. Stress piles up. The unexpected shows up uninvited. And when it does, most people panic. They lose composure. They scream, react, withdraw, or shut down. Not because the chaos is too much, but because their minds were never trained to meet chaos calmly. The real enemy isn't the problem. It's the pattern of reactivity you've built around it. The mind's default: react first, reflect later. When something triggers you, your nervous system takes over. Fight, you lash out, defend, argue, flight. You run, avoid, numb out, freeze. You shut down, feel stuck, lose presence. But here's the truth. Your reaction is a choice. It just doesn't feel like one until you've trained your awareness. You don't need to control the storm. You just need to stop letting it control you. What mental strength actually means. Mental strength isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about responding with clarity, not chaos. Strong minds observe before they react, pause before they speak. Ask, what does this require from me? Not what does it demand from my ego? Weak minds blame, defend, explode, or escape. Let others control their emotional state, confuse feeling powerful with being centered. Power is not in control, it's in the calm awareness behind the need. For control, real-life example, the calm warrior. Imagine two people in traffic. One screams, pounds the steering wheel, curses everyone. The other takes a breath, adjusts the music, keeps focus. Same situation, different training, because your peace isn't determined by what happens. It's determined by what happens inside you when life doesn't go your way. What situations make you lose your calm fastest? What old reaction patterns are still running on autopilot? What would shift if you saw chaos as your training ground, not your enemy? The storm was never the test. Your reaction to it always was. The first practice, the 5-second rule of awareness. Next, time, something triggers you. Pause for 5 seconds. Take a deep breath. Ask, am I reacting or responding? Choose your response from intention, not instinct. Say aloud, the world can be loud, but I will be still. The storm can rage, but I remain whole. Remind yourself, calm is not weakness. The strongest people don't fight every battle. They master which ones are worth showing up for and how. Now that you see the power in your response, the next level is learning how to train that response into a habit. Because calm isn't just a one-time decision, it's a daily muscle you build. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to move from reactive instinct to intentional, powerful presence. Let's continue. Chapter 2. Learn to respond, not react. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is your power. By Viktor Frankl. Reaction is fast. Response is strong. When someone offends you, when plans change unexpectedly, when your buttons are pushed, your instinct wants to react, snap, withdraw, blame, attack, escape. Why? Because your primitive brain, the amygdala, is screaming, protect yourself now. But protection isn't always power. Not every reaction is a reflection of your truth. Some are just echoes of old wounds. The pause that changes everything. Successful, mentally strong people don't react blindly. They've trained themselves to pause, breathe, observe the trigger, respond with awareness. They create space between the event and their next move. In that space, they choose clarity over chaos, calm over control, wisdom over ego. You don't need to respond fast, you need to respond right. Reacting comes from ego. Responding comes from power. Let's make this real. When you react, it's your ego taking the front seat. It's the part of you that says, I need to win. I need to be right. I need to prove something now. It's fast, it's impulsive, it's emotional. But when you respond, it's your power speaking. It's not trying to win the argument. It's trying to win back your center. It's slower, calmer, wiser. See, when you react, the world is pulling your strings. Someone says something and you snap, something goes wrong, and you spiral. It's like you've handed over your emotional remote to anyone who pushes your buttons. But when you respond, you pause, you breathe, you check in with who you really want to be, not who the moment tries to turn you into. That's the shift. Reacting is driven by the ego. Responding is led by the self. And every time you choose to respond, you step back into your power. Real-life example. Response in action. Imagine this. Your coworker sends a passive-aggressive message. You feel the heat rise in your chest. Reaction. You type back with sarcasm, escalate tension, and feel bad later. Response. You breathe, wait 15 minutes, and reply from clarity, not ego. Which version leads to strength, to respect, to peace? The moment you choose to respond instead of react, you shift from victim to master of your emotional world. Who or what do you react to most often, and why? What reaction pattern do you want to break? What would it feel like to move through life without being hijacked emotionally? You're allowed to feel deeply, but you're also responsible for what you do with those feelings. The second practice, the name it, tame it method. Next time you feel triggered, pause. Silently name the emotion you're feeling. Say to yourself, this is frustration, but I choose clarity. This is fear, but I choose groundedness. Respond only when your breath is calm. Say aloud, I am not my reactions. I am the awareness behind them. I choose how I move. Talk to yourself. Reaction is habit. Response is mastery. The strongest move isn't fighting back. It's stepping back to respond from power. Now that you've begun shifting from reaction to response, it's time to discover the simplest, most underrated tool you carry with you. Your breath. In the next chapter, we'll explore how breathing isn't just survival. It's the key to staying calm, clear, and centered in any storm. Chapter 3. The Power of Breath, your built-in reset button. Your breath is the remote control to your nervous system. Learn to use it, or it will use you. Most people breathe to survive, not to stay present. Think about it. When you're stressed, what happens? Your breath shortens, your chest tightens, you stop breathing, or you breathe fast and shallow. And in those moments, your mind follows the breath. Tense breath equals tense thoughts. Calm breath equals calm mind. But here's the magic. You don't need to wait for calm. You can create it, anytime, anywhere. Through your breath is your anchor. The one thing you can always return to, no matter what's happening around you. Breathing is the fastest way to regain control. Let's make this real. When the world feels too loud, when anxiety creeps in, when someone pushes your emotional buttons, you don't need a motivational speech. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to pause and breathe with intention. 3. Deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Slower, deeper, longer, and suddenly, your body relaxes, your mind clears, your power returns. You may not be able to change the situation, but you can always change your internal state with a single breath. This isn't just mindfulness talk, it's science. Breath affects your nervous system. Shallow, rapid breathing activates your sympathetic nervous system. Your fight or flight mode, slow. Deep breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and restore mode. So when you breathe with intention, you're not just calming your emotions, you're rewiring your biology to stay grounded. You don't need to be superhuman. You just need to start breathing like one. Real-life example, breath over breakdown. Imagine you're in a heated conversation. Your heart's racing, your face is hot. You want to interrupt, argue, defend, but instead, you stop. You inhale deeply, you exhale slowly, and you say, "Let me take a second before I respond." Just like that, you flip the switch. You're no longer reacting. You're in control. That's not weakness. That's mental strength. In action, when was the last time you truly noticed your breath under pressure? How would your life change? If you used your breath like a tool, not just an automatic habit, what would happen if your breath became your first response, not your last resort? Calm isn't something you wait for. It's something you create, one breath at a time. The third practice, the 4-7-8 reset. Try this tonight, or whenever you feel stressed. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 7 seconds. Exhale for 8 seconds. Repeat 4 times. This technique sends a message to your body. You're safe. You're calm. You're in control. Say aloud, "My breath is my anchor. When I control it, I control the moment." Tell yourself, your breath is always with you. You may forget everything else, but don't forget to breathe deeply, intentionally, and often. Now that you've rediscovered the power of breath, you're ready to face a deeper truth. Calm is not something you're born with, it's something you build in the next chapter. We'll explore why calm isn't a gift, it's a discipline anyone can master. Chapter 4. Calm is a skill, not a trait. Calm is not who you are, it's how you train yourself to respond. The myth: some people are just naturally calm. You've probably said it before. I wish I could be as calm as them. I'm just not that type of person. I've always had a short fuse. It's just who I am. But let's be clear. You weren't born snapping at people. You weren't born losing your temper or spiraling in stress. Those patterns, they were learned. If they were learned, they can be unlearned. Calm isn't a personality trait. It's a practiced way of living. Calm is a muscle, and you can strengthen it. Let's make this real. You don't walk into a gym once and expect muscles. You train. You repeat. You show up even when it's uncomfortable. Same with your mind. Every time you pause instead of react, breathe. Instead of explode, observe instead of judge. You're doing a mental rep. And over time, those reps build emotional muscle. The calmest people aren't born that way. They've simply failed, reflected, and practiced more. Forget "that's just how I am." It's how you've been trained. Let's break it down in spoken word flow. You weren't born impatient. You picked it up from people who were. Stressed. You weren't born reactive. You learned it by surviving chaos. But now, you're no longer just surviving. You're choosing to evolve. To retrain the way your nervous system moves through life, and that's the moment everything changes. You're not stuck, you're just untrained. And that's fixable. Real. LifeExample.com, built through training. Take any elite athlete, military officer, or stage performer. You think they feel no fear under pressure. Of course they do, but they've trained through discomfort so many times that calm becomes their default. Not their surprise, not magic, not miracle. Muscle memory, mindset. They didn't wait for calm, they built it. What beliefs have you held about your temper or anxiety that you can now question? Where in your life do you say, "I can't help it," when what you mean is, "I've never trained for it"? What would shift if you replaced judgment with practice? You don't need to change overnight. You just need to start training like the future you already exists. The next practice, the calm repetition method. Pick one situation that triggers you often. For example, a noisy environment or a difficult person. Visualize the moment calmly before it happens. Rehearse your response, breath, posture, tone. The real moment comes. Act it out as practiced. Do this daily, even for 60 seconds. Say aloud, "I'm not reactive. I'm responsive. I'm not impulsive. I'm intentional." Calm is not a wish. It's my daily work. Whisper to yourself, calm is built in reps, not reactions. Practice peace like others practice anger. Make stillness your new strength. Now that you've committed to building calm like a muscle, it's time to realize why this training matters so much. Because life won't warn you before it gets hard, and your ability to stay grounded must be built before the storm hits. In the next chapter, we'll explore why practicing calm in quiet seasons is what prepares you to stay powerful in chaotic ones. Chapter 5. Training in peace prepares you for war. Don't wait for chaos to test your calm. Build it now while the world is still quiet. The quiet moments are your mental gym. Most people only think about self-control after they lose it. Promise to stay calm after they explode. They want peace once life gets loud. But here's the truth. If you don't train when it's quiet, you won't be ready when it's loud. Mental strength isn't built on the battlefield. It's built in the stillness before the fight. Just like a warrior trains long before war, you must practice calm before life tests you. Use peaceful moments like rehearsals, your morning coffee, your daily commute, a quiet walk, a short break. These aren't just routines, they're training sessions. Each one is an opportunity to practice breathing deeply. Observe thoughts without judgment. Watch tension arise and gently release it. Visualize your future self responding powerfully. The calm you practice in peace becomes the armor you wear in chaos. Your mind is always training. The question is, for what? Let's talk straight. Every day your mind is training. The question is, are you training reactivity or resilience? Because every time you complain, you're reinforcing stress. Every time you rush, you're reinforcing panic. Every time you check your phone in boredom, you're reinforcing distraction. But every time you pause, every time you breathe, every time you notice a trigger without acting on it, you're teaching your nervous system something different. Power without panic. You can train your mind to break or to bend and bounce back. Real life example, training. Before the test, think of a firefighter. They don't learn how to stay calm inside the burning building. They train thousands of times outside of it until calm under pressure becomes instinct. Same with athletes, same with astronauts, same with spiritual leaders. You don't wait for the storm to hit to decide if you're ready. You train now, in stillness. So when it comes, you've already become someone who can stand tall. How do you use peaceful moments? Do you rest or react? What mental repetitions are you rehearsing each day? What would happen if you treated your quiet moments as sacred training time? The storm doesn't build you, it reveals what you've been building. One more practice, the morning mental drill. Each morning, before you speak to anyone, do this. Sit quietly for 2 minutes. Inhale slowly for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6 seconds. Say in your mind, I train peace now so I can hold it when tested. Visualize one challenge you may face and see yourself staying calm through it. Say aloud, I train when it's easy, so I can rise when it's hard. I build calm like a warrior sharpens his blade. Remember, prepare your mind like a champion prepares for battle. If you stay ready, you never have to get ready. Now that you understand the value of training in silence, it's time to unlock the most powerful tool for staying grounded in any situation, mindfulness, not as a trendy word, but as a life-altering mindset. Chapter 6. Mindfulness is your superpower. A distracted mind reacts. A mindful mind responds. The modern mind is everywhere except here. Let's be honest. Most people live in the past. What they should, said, done, avoided. The future. What might go wrong? What's not ready? The noise, texts, feeds, to those headlines, but rarely in the now. They eat while scrolling. Drive while thinking. Listen while formulating replies. The result? A mind that's constantly pulled, fragmented, exhausted. And when life throws stress their way, they can't stay grounded because their awareness was never in the present to begin with. You can't be powerful if you're not present. What mindfulness actually means, mindfulness isn't some mystical, unreachable state. It's not about being emotionless or empty or sitting cross-legged for hours. Mindfulness simply means, I'm here. I'm aware. I choose how I respond. It's the ability to notice what's happening around you, what's rising within you, without judgment, and without getting swept away. It's not detachment from life, it's deeper engagement with it, on your terms. Mindfulness is not passive, it's power in stillness. Let's put it into spoken flow. You don't need to control every thought, you just need to notice them without becoming them. You don't need to shut down your emotions, you just need to feel them without drowning. You don't need to eliminate chaos, you just need to stand in it, without letting it steal your center. That's mindfulness. Being able to witness your inner world without becoming its prisoner, that's your superpower. How mindfulness builds mental strength. Mindfulness is what allows you to pause before reacting. Observe instead of absorb. Hold your energy instead of leaking it. It trains your nervous system to stay responsive under pressure, not panicked by it. It's not about doing more, it's about being more present in what you're already doing. Calm isn't found in escaping the moment, it's found in being fully inside it. Real-life example, the mindful professional. Consider a surgeon in the middle of a life-or-death procedure. One slip, one distraction, one emotional spike, and everything can collapse. They don't panic, they don't rush, they drop into presence. Fully every breath, every movement, every thought. Deliberate. That's not just skill, that's mindfulness in motion. And it's available to you in your own life with every task, every moment. Where in your life are you physically present, but mentally absent? How often do you miss the now because you're trapped in what's next or what's past? What would shift if presence became your baseline? You don't need more time, you need more awareness in the time you already have. Another practice, the 3-minute presence reset. Once a day, do the following. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Sit comfortably. Bring full awareness to your breath each time your mind wanders, and it will. Gently bring it back. This is not a meditation competition. This is training presence like a muscle. Say aloud, I live in this moment. I notice without judgment. I choose presence over panic. Remind yourself, the most powerful person in the room is the most present In a world of scattered minds, presence is your advantage. Now that you've awakened your power of presence, you're ready to shift the way you look at life's challenges, because successful, grounded people don't run from storms. They use them as training grounds to grow sharper, stronger, and calmer. Chapter 7. Redefine the storm. Problems are training grounds. Life doesn't test you to break you, it tests you to build you. Most people see problems as punishment. Mentally strong people see them as practice. When something goes wrong, here's how most minds respond. Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? This isn't fair. This shouldn't be happening. And when that mindset kicks in, suffering multiplies. Because now you're not just facing a problem, you're arguing with its existence. Truth, which you label as problems. The mentally strong label as training sessions. Every challenge is an invitation to train. Let's say life throws you frustration. That's your training ground for patience. You get rejected. Training for resilience, you're misunderstood. Training for emotional self-trust, you're criticized. Unfairly training for detachment and confidence. Life is not against you. It's preparing you for what you said you wanted. The storm isn't a threat. It's a mirror. Let's flow into this as if we're speaking from soul to soul. The storm shows up, not to punish you, but to show you where you're still fragile, where your boundaries still leak, where your ego still flinches, where your calm is still conditional. The storm is a mirror. It reflects what's unhealed, untrained, ungrowunded. And when you shift your view, when you stop fighting the storm and start listening to it, you evolve. Every storm is a curriculum. You willing to learn. From resistance to readiness, instead of asking, why me? Ask, what's being asked of me right now? Where is my strength being sharpened? What skill is this moment demanding I master? When you see every challenge as training, you stop running from life and start rising with it. Real life. Example, growth through the fire. Think of Nelson Mandela, imprisoned for 27 years. Most would have seen it as injustice, a death sentence, a curse. He saw it as a classroom, a place to train patience, vision, forgiveness, strategy, presence. When he emerged, he didn't seek revenge. He led a nation because he let the storm shape him, not shatter him. The storm didn't stop his peace, it matured it. What's one challenge in your life right now that you've labeled unfair? What might shift if you treated it as training instead of torment? What emotional, mental, or spiritual muscle could this moment be building? You're not being punished, you're being prepared. The next practice, Storm Reframe Journal. Each evening, write, what triggered me today? What did that moment expose in me? What strength could I train through it? Say aloud, this moment is not against me, it's here to build me. I train in the storm, because peace is forged through fire. Talk to yourself. You're not a victim of the storm, you're a student of it. Strong minds don't ask for easy lives. They ask for the strength to face hard things with grace. Now that you've redefined your relationship with difficulty, it's time to take the next powerful step, rewriting. The internal dialogue that rises when life doesn't go your way, because a single question can change your entire experience. Chapter 8. Shift from why me to what's the lesson? Victims ask why me. Leaders ask, what's this here to teach me? Why me? Is a disempowering loop. Let's be real, when things go wrong, our first instinct is to question life. Why is this happening again? What did I do to deserve this? How come others seem fine, but I keep struggling? And though it's human to ask, those questions don't liberate you. They trap you in blame, shame, and resistance. Because why me? Assumes you're powerless. Life is unfair. You're the target of punishment. But here's the truth. Life isn't happening to you. It's happening for your evolution. The most liberating shift you can make. Successful people experience the same losses, failures, betrayals, and breakdowns. But instead of spiraling into despair, they reframe it. They ask, what is this revealing in me? What am I being invited to see, heal, or strengthen? What would my highest self do with this experience? Because the minute you ask better questions, you access better answers. Pain doesn't have to be permanent when you extract the lesson, rewriting your inner dialogue from victimhood to wisdom. Let's bring this to life in voice. Instead of, why is this so hard? Say, this is hard because it's stretching me. Instead of, why does this keep happening? Say, what pattern in me is asking to be broken? Instead of, I can't handle this, say, I've handled everything so far, and I'm still here. That shift, subtle but powerful, moves you from helpless to conscious, from wounded to wise. Growth doesn't always feel good, but it always leaves you stronger. Real-life example, the lesson behind the loss. Think of J.K. Rowling, depressed, divorced, and broke. She could have drowned in self-pity, but instead, she asked, what's left when everything else is stripped away? Her answer, her imagination, her stories, her courage. And that's where Harry Potter was born. She didn't escape pain, she transformed through it, because she asked the right question. What's one painful experience you still don't understand? And what might it be trying to teach you? What recurring challenge in your life could actually be an invitation to level up? How would your peace change if you stopped blaming life and started listening to it? You don't need to make the pain disappear, you just need to make it meaningful. The next practice, reframing reflection journal. Tonight, take a moment to write a current or past struggle, what you've learned or are learning from it, how it's making you stronger, wiser, or more grounded. Say aloud, this is not the end. Me, this is the shaping of me. I don't just survive pain, I extract the lesson and rise. Remember, questions shape reality. Ask why, and you suffer. Ask what, and you grow. Now that you've shifted your perspective, it's time to build the daily rituals that will lock in this mindset. Because growth isn't one breakthrough, it's a lifestyle, a rhythm, a discipline. Chapter 9. Daily disciplines that forge mental strength. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you strong. Your mind is a mirror of your habits. Let's tell the truth most people avoid. If your thoughts feel chaotic, it's because your days are. If your emotions feel out of control, it's because your habits are reactive, not intentional. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And the strongest minds, they don't rely on feeling good, they rely on doing what works, especially when they don't feel like it. Mental strength comes from consistent choices, not occasional bursts. It's easy to feel centered for 5 minutes after reading something inspiring. But what about when you're sleep deprived? Someone disappoints you, nothing's going your way. That's where your disciplines take over. Because real mental strength doesn't ask, do I feel like it? It says, this is who I am. I show up anyway. Let's break the myth. Discipline isn't restriction, it's liberation. Let's speak this into truth. Discipline isn't punishment, it's loyalty to your future self. It's the quiet reminder each morning that says, I'm choosing peace over panic. I'm choosing movement over avoidance. I'm choosing the next version of me, not the old habit I'm trying to outgrow. That's not harsh, that's sacred. Discipline is love, not for comfort, but for who you're becoming. Examples of daily mental disciplines. You don't need 20 new habits, you need a few that matter. Done with consistency, here are some simple, powerful disciplines. Morning breathwork or meditation, about 5 or 10 minutes. Journaling, 1 page. Thoughts, clarity, intentions. Digital detox, time blocks. No phone, first hour of waking. Intentional movement, walk, stretch, or sweat daily. Evening reset, 10 minutes to reflect, forgive. Recenter. These aren't just tasks, they're mental armor you put on daily. Real-life example. Discipline in the quiet hours. Look at any Navy SEAL, Olympic athlete, or high-impact leader. They don't build grit by accident. They wake up when others snooze. They train when others scroll. They pause and breathe while others panic and react, because they know that war is often won in the hours no one sees. Your success isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows. In your silent daily reps, what daily rituals are strengthening your mind, and which ones are weakening it? What if the greatest act of self-respect was keeping the promises you make to yourself every day? What would shift in your life if discipline became devotion? Stop chasing the feeling. Start honoring the process. The next practice, build your 3 non-negotiable S. today. Define 3 daily disciplines you commit to for the next 7 days. Keep them simple. Keep them consistent. Write them where you'll see them. And track every win. Say aloud, these small actions forge an unshakable mind. I keep my word. I build my strength. I train my peace. Remind yourself, you become what you repeat. Discipline isn't boring. It's freedom with a backbone. Now that you've committed to your inner discipline, it's time to look outward at the environment, shaping your mind, because even the strongest practice can be crushed by a toxic space filled with noise, drama, or negativity. Chapter 10. Surround yourself with calm, not chaos. You can't expect peace if you're bathing your mind in noise. The energy around you becomes the energy within you. We all want peace, but then we surround ourselves with people who gossip, argue, and complain. News feeds that trigger fear and division. Noise, clutter, urgency, drama, everywhere. And we wonder why we feel restless, drained, anxious, for no reason, but it's not for no reason. Your environment is either feeding your peace or slowly suffocating it. Your nervous system is listening to everything. Here's what most people don't realize. Your nervous system is always scanning, always responding, even when you're not paying attention. So that background argument, that loud TikTok, that flashing screen, they all register. And over time, they become your baseline energy. You can't be calm if your space is chaos. You can't think clearly in a room that's screaming at you. It's not just who you are around, it's what you allow. Let's speak it plainly. It's not selfish to protect your peace, it's sacred, because you're allowed to say no to drama. You're allowed to walk away from people who drain you. You're allowed to mute noise in real life and online. You're allowed to choose stillness over stimulation. This isn't about cutting everyone off, it's about choosing what grows you, not what exhausts you. Your peace is not a luxury, it's your responsibility. Declutter your digital, physical, and emotional space. Here's what high-performing, mentally strong people do. Physically, they keep their space minimal, clean, intentional. Digitally, they curate their feed, turn off notifications, and protect their focus emotionally. They don't explain their boundaries, they enforce them. Energetically, they rest without guilt, unplug often, and protect their morning and evening hours. Why? Because their environment is a mirror of their mindset. Real life example, environment as a power tool. Think of Steve Jobs, known for wearing the same outfit daily. Why? Because it reduced decision fatigue and kept his focus pure. Or Serena Williams, who had specific warm-up rituals and tightly controlled training environments. Because her peace was part of her power, or any monk in any monastery who organizes surroundings not for aesthetics, but for spiritual clarity. You don't need a monastery, you just need better boundaries. What drains your mental space the most that you keep allowing? What area of your environment could you change this week to better support your peace? How would your energy shift if you gave yourself permission to protect your space like your life depended on it? You don't owe access to anyone or anything that costs your clarity. One more practice, your calm environment. Audit today. Choose one space to shift, physical, digital, or relational. Ask, what's stealing my focus here? What can I remove, simplify, or reset? What do I want this space to feel like? Take one small action. Even just clearing a desk or muting a toxic group chat, say aloud, I choose calm over chaos. I guard my energy with intention. I create peace where I stand. Remind yourself, you don't just live in environments. You become them. Your space speaks to your nervous system. Make sure it's saying something kind. Once your outer world supports your calm, you'll begin to notice something beautiful. Your ability to bounce back gets stronger, not because life is easier, but because you've been training in the dark hours. Chapter 11. Resilience is built in the unseen hours. Everyone sees the breakthrough. No one sees the repetition that made it possible. The world applauds results, not the reps behind them. When people see someone calm under pressure, they call it talent, luck, personality, genetics, but that's not the truth. What they're seeing is repetition, reps of showing up when it's hard, breathing through frustration, sitting with discomfort instead of escaping, resetting again and again when the world didn't clap. Resilience is built in the hours. No one praises, but you show up anyway. The mind learns strength through repetition, not relief. Your nervous system doesn't grow stronger just because a crisis ends. It grows stronger because you stayed present during the storm. Each time you don't quit when you're tired, breathe. When your body tenses, rest consciously instead of numbing out. Choose silence over self-sabotage. You're teaching your nervous system something sacred. We can endure this. We can be still. We can rise again. What you practice in private echoes in public. Let's speak this truth out loud. You don't become resilient in front of the crowd. You become resilient when you wake up early to realign your mind. Sit with pain without rushing a fix. Choose not to lash out even when no one would blame you. Keep your word to yourself in moments that feel invisible. And that's the difference between those who shine once and those who glow consistently from within. The strongest people aren't loud. They're rooted. Real-life example, the invisible practice of strength. Think of Kobe Bryant, showing up for practice at 4 a.m., no cameras, no fans, just reps in the dark. Or Brené Brown, writing books on vulnerability while facing her own fears in private therapy sessions. Or anyone you admire for their calm. They weren't born that way. They bled for that peace, quietly, daily. What do you do when no one's watching? And how does it shape who you're becoming? What small moments in your day are actually sacred training grounds? What if you honored the quiet hours as the most important work of all? You don't need witnesses to become powerful. You need consistency when no one's clapping. Another practice, the unseen wins ritual. Each night, write down 1 to 2 things you did that no one saw, but you're proud of. Example, didn't react to a rude comment. Meditated for 5 minutes instead of scrolling. Went for a walk when your mind felt heavy. Celebrate these like trophies. Say aloud, I train when no one sees me. I rise when no one claps. And that's what makes me unstoppable. Talk to yourself. Private discipline equals public power. You're not falling behind. You're forging a foundation no one can take away. Now that you've trained in silence, in breath, in presence, and in your unseen hours, you're ready to return to the world, not as someone who survives storms, but as someone who embodies the calm inside them. Chapter 12. Be the stillness in the storm. Don't just survive the storm. Become the stillness it can't shake. Everyone is looking for peace, but few become it. In a world addicted to noise, urgency, and reaction, people are searching for something to calm them, someone to ground them, some place to feel safe. But the truth is, peace isn't something you find, it's something you become. You don't need the storm to stop, you need to become unshakable within it. You've trained for this moment. Everything you've practiced so far, responding instead of reacting, breathing through discomfort, setting boundaries, choosing discipline, sitting in silence, listening for the lesson, trusting your unseen growth. It wasn't for some far-off day, it was for this. The moment life doesn't go your way, the moment things fall apart around you, but not within you. Because now, you no longer need life to behave. You know how to hold your center regardless. You are no longer at the mercy of the storm. Let's speak this truth into being. You've stopped trying to control every wave. You've stopped chasing the next moment to fix how you feel. You've anchored into the only place that holds real power. The present, the breath, the grounded self. Now, you don't need to be the loudest in the room. You don't need to prove you're calm. You radiate it. You are the pause before the chaos. You are the breath inside the whirlwind. You are the eye within the storm. The storm isn't gone. It's just no longer stronger than your peace. What would it mean for you to embody stillness, not just desire it? Who do you become when you no longer need to fix or control the world? What becomes possible when you lead with grounded energy instead of reaction? You don't need perfect circumstances, you just need unshakable presence. The last practice, the I am the calm declaration, each morning. Look in the mirror and affirm, I am not afraid of the storm. I am not here to control the world. I am the stillness that moves through it with power. And each night, ask yourself, where did I hold my peace today, and how did it change everything? Remind yourself, stillness is strength in its purest form. The calmest one in the room holds the most power, because they don't need to prove anything. They already are everything. Final words, calm is a practice. Inner strength is a choice. If you've come this far, it means something deep within you is ready. Not just to learn calm, but to live it. Not just to avoid the fire, but to become the one who walks through it. Centered, awake, alive. You've seen now that calm is not a gift, it's a discipline. Peace is not the absence of noise, it's presence within it. And mental strength is not loud, it's quietly consistent. You are no longer reacting to life, you are leading your inner world, and in doing so, you're becoming the kind of presence the world needs more of. Take a breath, you've arrived. Now carry this stillness into everything you do, and watch the world shift around your presence.
Thank you for spending this moment with Awaken Light Audio. If something today touched your heart or opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Share your thoughts in the comments. What spoke to you most? Tell us about your journey, your questions. Send it their way, because light grows when it's shared. Until next time, stay present, stay awakened, and keep becoming who you're meant to be.